Hello guys, this is that time of the year when universities in US starts rolling out admits for the fall semester and people are a bit confused on which university to choose from. First of all, having multiple admits is a good problem to have. I know it's a big decision, I've been there. So to explain things properly and not to drag out the video, I'm going to split this topic into three main criteria which will be used to make the important decision. So this is part 3 of the 3-part series in where I'm trying to explain the factors I considered to choose my admit for my masters in USA. And the factor we are discussing in this video, which in my opinion is the most important, is the financials. So the financials includes multiple things like the tuition fee, the scholarships, the funding opportunities of the university and the department, the part-time job availability, and a few more. So to begin with, it is very important to have a very clear idea on what your fees per credit is for your specific program, and also if or not other things like health insurance and any other side costs will or will not be added to your tuition fees. A point to note here is your I-20 amount is not a very accurate representation of your fees, because usually I-20 has a very bloated values for textbooks and other expenses which most of us won't really use. So check the university website for the specific thing called the international graduate fees, and also ask your seniors in your specific program on what they usually paid for semester based on how many credits they took in that semester. Usually what I've seen is departments have 32 credits to take for their whole master's program. Some have 36. So what students usually do is they take 9,993 for 30 credits and so on, depending on how many credits they have to take to completion of their degree. Some students usually get their scholarships along with their admits. A majority of them don't. So do not forget to check the scholarships and financial aid portal of the university. Also ask the seniors and alumni of that specific department about the funding and scholarship and some fellowship opportunities in that department or in the university. And I would strongly suggest apply for every one of them. Like, obviously, if you are eligible, apply for as many as you can. In most of the things, you have to usually apply with a resume, a couple of essays, and filling some details. That is usually about it. So if you can do that with as many scholarship applications as you can, most universities have like one unified scholarship application, filling which will make you eligible for a bunch of them. And if you're and if they feel you're deserving enough, they'll usually provide you one. So do not forget to get them and submit them on time, because I have a few friends who have filled in almost all the application, but they felt a bit lazy in writing the essay and somehow the deadline passed. So do not be that person. Try applying and submitting to all applications on time, and preferably before time. This point is specific to the thesis students. Check for all professors who are working in your field of interest, and just try cold emailing them even before you get to US. Like once you get the admit, hopefully you might have done your research prior to applying and you have a list of professors whom you are interested to work with if you are a thesis student. So try cold emailing them, or try to approach them, and try to establish a contact and try asking them for any opportunities they have in the research group, and they usually might or might not reply, but you give your best efforts in getting a contact established with the professor, so that you can have the information from them about any student researcher opportunities, any research assistant opportunities, any student worker opportunities, like any sources of funding, any sources of employment under them, or the least case to work under his or her group, so that you can start on your thesis as early as possible. And also, if the funding is available, you get that opportunity before anyone can even look into it. Another important person whom you need to be in contact is your department's graduate advisor. Is a person who usually has every bit of information about any departmental scholarships, departmental fellowships, what are the rules to apply for any scholarships, and what courses usually students take in their early semesters, what is the flow of the course, what is the flexibility in course selection, every possible nook and crook of the coursework or anything related to that department. That should be your go-to contact person. Also, many universities give out this thing called need-based scholarship. For this, you need to contact the financial aid department in your university. But again, for this, you need to provide them with documents that you are in need of that financial need, and without that, you might not be able to afford the fees and other things. So then, based on the review, and once they check your documents and have a clear idea of your situation, they might give out the scholarship to you. Another important thing is you need to get information about part-time jobs in your university as early as you can. There is usually a website of the university which lists all the part-time jobs available, and you better apply for them as early as you can, and try to apply for as many as you can for which you are eligible for. And if you do fly into the US a bit early than your program start date, and if you don't have a part-time job by then, try going to departments, or trying in your department, or try in all the other facilities and other common jobs in the university, because some might not be advertised in that website. And most universities have this thing called part-time job fair, which is usually a week or two before the start of your program date. So that could be also a good resource to search for and to get part-time job, at least the interviews. And yes, even most part-time jobs have interviews in US. Some like catering and like food services might not usually have, but yeah, there are part-time jobs usually have interviews here. Not a serious interview, but just a behavioral. And also, even for these part-time jobs, you can get referrals from seniors who are doing this job and might who are like graduating, or who might switch to other jobs, so they might refer you for this job, which might make it easier for you to get a part-time job, and this will help you beat the competition. But a very important factor to consider here is not to be too consumed in doing a part-time job as soon as you start your masters, or even like before you start your masters, because this could come with its own set of problems, because your main priority of coming to US is education. And if you put too much effort into working from day one, you might not able to concentrate as much as you want on your education. And yeah, just this thing, earn money, do part-time jobs, but just that, don't let it affect your education, which is your main prerogative here. As I have seen a good number of people I know who came here and they were like running behind part-time jobs from day one, jumping from one to one depending on which gives the higher pay, but that did affect their academics, and they then had to realize and then cut back on their efforts they are putting into the part-time job. So don't be that person. Academics first and anything else later. And usually any of these part-time jobs will cover your living expenses and then some in most cases, unless you're living a very lavish life. If you're living a moderate, decent, good enough life, they usually cover your expenses. But do not be in the assumption that you'll do some part-time jobs and cover your tuition fee. Unless you get a graduate assistantship, teaching assistantship, research assistantship, some sort of in-state tuition fee waiver, or like some scholarships which gets your fee down to the in-state tuition fee, and you get a high-paying job, then you might barely scrape it, because those assistantships will make your fees to in-state and pay you a monthly salary of like $1,000 to $2,000. So that might help you cover a majority of your tuition fees as well. But again, we can't guarantee it. Only if you allow to not have a lifestyle creep that people earning like 500 bucks a month spend little, people who earn 2000 bucks a month spend more. So if you can control your expenses, then you might be able to contribute a good portion of your high salaries and take advantage of having an in-state fee in paying off the next semester fee with this semester savings. That is possible, but there's a very less chance of anyone getting a GA, TA, RA. Obviously, not everyone gets it, but yeah, that's an option. But again, as I mentioned, it is not practical to assume that you can pay off your fees with just part-time jobs or any of these. Don't be in that assumption. It is good to be optimistic, but don't bet on it. And as I mentioned in a previous video, which I did on location, the cost of living also plays a very important role in your total amount you spend in obtaining your degree. So yeah, living in a big city or a college town or a suburban will obviously affect your monthly living expenses. And usually the pay is proportional. Like if you're living in a suburban, your part-time job pay is less because your expenses are less. If you're living in a big city, your part-time job salaries are higher because your expenses are higher. They usually match. So in any case, your part-time job should usually cover your monthly expenses for your rent and groceries and some minor expenses here and there if you're living a normal and decent life. And that's my take on financials, which is part 3 of 3 in this 3-part series I have done in explaining the important factors to be considered when choosing an admit for your master's in the US. So check the other 2 parts which I've done before this. The first one was on departmental ranking and the second was on location and how those 2 things play an important role in choosing your admit. Comment below with your questions, concerns, queries about any topic related to your masters in USA. I'll try my best to answer those questions and help you out. Yeah, see you in the next one. Thank you.